This is my finished website with the added animations. My home page consists of 6 CSS animations, the typewriter animation for the title of the page, an image slider, text color change for my subtitles, transition of images from square to oval shape, move up and down images for the center here, and then zoom out images on the bottom. For the typewriter animation, as you can see here, I added the following code to my index page. In my CSS, I set the typewriter speed to 5 seconds. I then changed the steps from 50 to 40 as this allowed my animation to suit the width of my text, which was at a font size of 145%. I kept the width of the actual animation at 24 EM as this ensured my animation stayed in the center of the page. My 5 image slider was already existing on my web page. This is the code I added to my index.html. In my CSS, I changed the speed of the slider from 30 seconds to 20 seconds. This meant that each image lasted 5 seconds. The animation also plays back on the loop. I added in the keyframe element in my CSS. My keyframe was called sliding. My keyframe went from 0% to -100%, up to -400%, and then back to -100%, and back to a 0%. This allowed the images to play back on themselves and to loop. I then added a text color changing animation to my subheadings on my page. As you can see here, in my index page, I give my H2 an ID called text. In my CSS, I used the keyframes element to set the color change. I only added 4 colors. I added blue, light green, orange, and dark green. The keyframes went from 0% to 30% to 60% and then to 100%. I changed the speed of each color to 4 seconds, and I added in the infinite property, which allowed this animation to loop. I then added in a transition to my images in my text elements. These were on the left and right. This animation meant when you hover over them, this would transition from square to an oval shape. In my index, I gave both images an ID left for the left image and an ID right for the right image. In my CSS, I changed the speed from 1 second to 4 seconds per image. I added a cursor pointer, so this meant when the mouse hovered over the images, they transitioned. I added a transition property, background and border radius. I kept the border radius at 50% to ensure it transitioned in and out only 50% of the image. This also happened in a smooth way. I did the exact same on the right image. I then added in an animation that allowed my images in the center of the page to move up and down on a constant. In my index page, I gave both images a class name of move. In my CSS, I changed the speed of the images to 2 seconds. I then added a 1 second infinite alternate, as this allowed the images to loop. I then added a WebKit keyframes mover. The animation went from 0% to 100%. I kept the transform translate at -10px for both images, as this worked best on my page as the images didn't move up or down too high. The last thing I did was to animate the image to zoom out while you hovered over them. In my HTML, I added the images. I added in an image called Luke, Ashton, Callum and Michael. I then gave Luke, for example, an ID of Luke, and the same follow with the rest. In my CSS, I give each image a width of 325 px and a height of 300 px. I also gave each image a transition of 1 second. I then added a hashtag loop hover, for example, and I gave the transform scale to be 1.5. This allowed to zoom out while you hovered over the image. I then added this to the rest of my images, as you can see here. In total, my animations applied to my web page come to around 40 seconds long.